Hi, welcome to Dig Into China. I'm Dong Shang. Thank you for tuning in. Your support means the world and plays a crucial role in the YouTube algorithm. Liking, sharing, and subscribing not only show your support, but also help YouTube recommend my videos to a broader audience. Thank you very much. In this segment, we'll delve into the field of prison economics. Today's discussion serves as a follow-up to a previous episode where we explored the economics of small towns. The concept of prison economics is essentially an extension of township economics. Within this unique economic framework, exchanges and commercial activities still occur, but there are significant shifts in the rules of the game compared to conventional settings. What exactly are these changes? To answer this question, we need to examine the principles underlying prison economics. I anticipate that China's economy will soon transition into a thoroughly managed mode akin to that of a prison, a matter tightly intertwined with present realities. In order for this prison-like model to establish itself, a fundamental requirement is the societal separation from the external world. It must be self-contained and isolated. This isolation and closure are essential aspects of a prison society. Hence, it's crucial to examine whether present-day Chinese society has entered such a closed-off, isolated environment. If indeed it has, the concept of prison economics could potentially come into play. I have previously mentioned the possibility of the Chinese economy becoming an isolated island. This is mainly due to the decreasing economic and cultural exchanges between China and the outside world. Additionally, there is a growing trend of closure and isolation among different regions within China. Although this trend hasn't shown its full intensity yet, and it remains somewhat unnoticed by the outside world, the internal movement towards closure and a prison-like society has already been put on the agenda by the Chinese government, and the preparations are underway. In the previous years, amid the pandemic, China enforced highly rigorous zero-COVID isolation measures, effectively transforming residential complexes into makeshift prisons and confining residents on site. This served as a large-scale rehearsal for a prison society. With the pandemic now over, the endeavor to establish a prison-like society has been fully initiated. A highly centralized and controlled bureaucratic system is currently being implemented across China. This system includes various initiatives such as the farmland chief system in rural areas, motivational supermarkets, social credit systems, and the implementation of grid management in urban areas, along with the introduction of supply and marketing cooperatives and digital food vouchers. Reports from both the People's Daily Online and the paper in January and February this year indicated that the farmland chief system in rural China would undergo significant expansion and a complete implementation. Notably, there has been considerable emphasis in Guangdong province, where efforts are focused on ensuring the practical implementation of individual responsibilities regarding farmland. This includes stricter control and management of laborers in agricultural fields, the adoption of a points system, and the establishment of reporting mechanism. This year's promotion primarily aimed to establish a farmland chief responsibility system extending from the provincial level down to each village. According to reported data, Guangdong had already piloted over 30,000 grassroots farmland chiefs by 2022. The number of farmland chiefs and the implementation of grid divisions are expected to increase significantly during this comprehensive promotion, with the process rapidly gaining momentum. Furthermore, in 2024, there has been a continuous rise in mentions of the Fengqiao Experience in Chinese media. The introduction of the Fengqiao Experience is presented as a novel approach to resolving internal conflicts and disputes among the populace. This concept originates from the actions taken in the 1960s in Fengqiao town, a part of Zhejiang province, where efforts were made to classify individuals based on their class backgrounds and conduct on-site apprehension and educational campaigns for those considered troublesome. The Fengqiao Experience doesn't rely on legal measures to address conflicts. Rather, it advocates for using mass movements to deal with individuals who may endanger societal stability. In essence, it suggests resolving legal issues through political mobilization. In reality, the Fengqiao Experience embodies an extensive and omnipresent form of social monitoring that infiltrates every aspect of individuals' lives, leaving no room for criminal behavior. This stringent control renders ordinary citizens devoid of any agency, tightly restrained and surveyed. Its fundamental premise lies in the presumption of guilt, whereby all individuals are assumed to be potential offenders and are managed accordingly. As the farmland chief system and the Fengqiao Experience become increasingly widespread in China, it's only a matter of time before their full implementation. With the growing number of unemployed individuals in China today, preventing outbreaks of mass incidents and addressing related crime issues has become incredibly challenging. This situation could lead to a vicious cycle. As the Chinese economy worsens, unemployment increases, creating a greater need to promote the Fengqiao Experience to maintain stability. However, the more the Fengqiao Experience is promoted, the more private and foreign capital may fear it, leading to withdrawals and further increases in unemployment. Therefore, the Fengqiao Experience policy will continue to strengthen itself over time and eventually evolve into a de facto large-scale prison. Next, I'd like to discuss how the economy operates within this entire prison society and the prison economy. Chris Atkins, a journalist and a documentary filmmaker from the UK, spent an extensive period living in local prisons across the country, sharing space with inmates. He subsequently documented his experience in a memoir titled A Bit of Stretch: The Diaries of a Prisoner. Through his first-hand observations within the prison system, Atkins uncovered the presence of two distinct economic frameworks operating concurrently. To begin with, there is a system of commodity exchange among inmates. This exchange doesn't necessarily involve currency, but rather essential items for daily living, like cigarettes or other scarce goods. Essentially, within the prison, transactions between individuals often occur through bartering goods, forming what can be termed as the underground market exchange system. On the surface of the underground market economy lies the official economic system of the prison itself, which closely resembles a socialist country's planned economy. In this system, there's little room for free exchange. Instead, goods are distributed based on labor points, akin to China's credit scoring system. For example, diligent and disciplined behavior in prison labor can earn inmates higher labor points, which can be traded for better quality goods provided by the prison authorities, such as essential items and even entertainment like PS gaming consoles. Additionally, exceptional long-term performance may lead to rewards such as sentence reduction. While this may appear promising, the chances of obtaining rewards and benefits through the official prison reward system are minimal, with only a select few able to attain them. Consequently, when inmates have consumption needs, they often turn to the underground economy for exchanges. Thus, despite the strict planned system, as long as human nature persists, individuals within the system will inevitably establish an underground commodity exchange network. Many researchers studying related issues have observed a trend. Within the underground economy of prisons, a significant portion of traded goods consists of prohibited items such as high-end luxury foods, cigarettes, alcohol, and illicit drugs that induce hallucination. For example, Sandra Gleason, an assistant professor of economics at the University of Michigan, Dearborn, discussed this phenomenon in detail in an article titled "Hustling: The Inside Economy of a Prison." Gleason highlighted that due to the scarcity of these underground commodities, their prices often soar well above the normal levels, allowing sellers to reap substantial profits. In her analysis, Gleason presents a table comparing prices of common food items and illicit drugs, revealing significant markups ranging from 40 to 60% within prison markets. This underscores the lucrative nature of underground exchange within prisons, a noteworthy observation deserving of attention. Another article featured in the journal Crime and Justice Research and titled The Informal Economy in Prison by Ducey Fall Walker offers insight into why substances like marijuana and hallucinogens are widely sought after within prison walls. The demand stems from the fact that hallucinogens can alleviate the stress and mitigate the feelings of depression, which in itself constitutes a substantial economic demand. It's crucial to recognize that life in prison is both lengthy and monotonous, making inmates prone to feelings of oppression and depression. The prison environment, characterized by isolation and intense monitoring, exacerbates stress levels. The prolonged exposure to such conditions inevitably takes a toll on individuals' psychological well-being, resulting in significant mental suppressions. In response, individuals turn to stress relief commodities for solace, with staples like cigarettes, narcotics, and electronic drugs such as gaming consoles being particularly popular. Gaming consoles, for instance, serves as electronic escapes into virtual realms, offering respite from the harsh realities of prison life. Thus, both tangible and electronic narcotics enjoy robust consumer demand in prison, presenting lucrative opportunities for those who supply these stress-relieving commodities. The article also observes a significant trend within the underground economy of prisons: extensive borrowing and lending. Given that many inmates lack funds, they often resort to obtaining items through credit or borrowing money. However, when it comes time to repay these debts, many find themselves unable to do so. Consequently, they are compelled to sell their bodies by providing labor for the lenders, often in physically demanding tasks, as a means of repaying their debts. In dire situations, failure to repay debts may even result in physical violence or assault. As mentioned in the article, prison officials designate Fridays as market days, allowing inmates to freely exchange and trade goods. However, this day also serves as a collection day for certain loan shark groups within the prison. Failure to repay debts may result in physical violence, often leaving individuals with black eyes and other injuries. Consequently, the prison's market day has earned the nickname Black Eye Friday. Based on the information presented, we can grasp an overview of the economic dynamics within prisons. One notable feature is the flourishing underground economy, marked by rampant underground financial transactions, lending practices, and various criminal activities. This is the first point. Secondly, the most sought-after goods within these prisons are narcotics. This demand arises from the unbearable and monotonous nature of prison life, compelling individuals to seek narcotics as a means of numbing themselves to forget the passage of time and the harsh realities of their existence. To sum up, the prison economy is predominantly characterized by the underground economy, complemented by the narcotics trade and criminal activities. This economic framework applies not only to individual prisons, but also extends to larger societal contexts like China. With the comprehensive implementation of the Fengqiao Experience in the near future, prison economics is expected to have a notable impact in China. Despite the appearance of a planned economy, China is likely to see an active underground economy beneath the surface. Hence, there's a strong likelihood that China's future economy will adopt this dualistic structure. The connection between the current town economy and the prospective prison economy may not follow a straightforward timeline. Instead, they could potentially coalesce and blend together. Reflecting on our previous discussion regarding town economics, we recognize that town economics are anchored by grassroots officials and administrators who establish intricate social networks and power dynamics. Economic transactions within towns are built upon these relationships, involving practices such as gift-giving, social engagement, networking, and trade exchanges, all of which drive local economic activity. These officials and administrators in towns can be compared to the prison guards and wardens within the prison system. They serve as the grassroots managers overseeing the Chinese populace. In this analogy, the Chinese populace resembles the inmates in prison. Thus, the correlation between the town economy and the prison economy lies in the roles and interactions of power, authority, and the social connections. Both systems feature a hierarchical structure of governance and a web of social interactions that facilitate economic transactions, albeit in different contexts. Consequently, rather than a linear progression, the relationship between the town economy and the prison economy is one of intertwining and coexistence. Looking at it this way, it's clear that both the town economy and the prison economy can coexist. But why hasn't this coexistence happened before? The main reason is that in previous years, China hasn't actively promoted the Fengqiao Experience. This approach involves local labor reform, creating boundaries to confine residents and detaining them locally. Without a significant promotion of this system, the structure of the prison economy hasn't been fully developed or visible. However, with recent efforts to promote it, the underlying structure of the prison economy may become more apparent. In the future, China may resemble one large prison where all Chinese citizens essentially function as inmates undergoing labor reform. Meanwhile, officials and the ruling class will act like prison guards and wardens within towns. As a result, China as a whole will exist in a state where towns and prisons coexist. From this trend, we can discern what will become popular among inmates in labor camps and subsequently in China. The most prevalent commodity in prisons is narcotics, as inmates commonly experience extreme suppression and suffering. Similarly, Chinese citizens may face unprecedented levels of suppression and suffering in the future. How can this suppression and suffering be alleviated? Escaping is impossible, and a sentence reduction is wishful thinking. The only way to alleviate the suffering is through narcotics, including electronic narcotics such as TikTok, video games, short films, and various forms of electronic entertainment that can numb individuals and help them forget their pain. Narcotics are indeed the true essential commodity of China's future economy. After the 2008 quantitative easing, China's essential commodity was real estate. However, once China officially enters a prison economy, the greatest essential commodity will be narcotics. Choosing self-numbing is equivalent to allowing oneself to fade away without pain. One prevalent trend within prison is the pervasive sense of suffering, and there is a significant demand for alleviating this suffering. Where there's a demand, there is also supply, leading to a balance between supply and demand. Those who can understand and navigate this equilibrium stand to profit greatly within the prison system. However, it's essential to recognize that this trend is not a secret. It's widely known to both inmates and prison authorities alike. Therefore, in the future, individuals involved in the narcotics trade within prisons may likely collaborate with the prison officials to conduct their business. Essentially, the dividends of the prison economy must be shared among all involved parties. Monopolizing them is not feasible. Collaboration with authorities is often necessary to share in these benefits. Thank you for watching. Please like, leave a comment, and subscribe to my channel. Just click the subscribe button right here. I'll see you again shortly. Until then, be well.